Hey gang, and welcome to the Meddling Kids podcast, a review of all things Scooby-Doo. I am so glad there were no horses in this episode. I'm Stephen Pappas.
I'm Julie Kinnan. I was going to save that reveal for the end.
Oh, I've ruined it.
You totally ruined it.
I'm a bad podcaster. I quit. Goodbye.
It's okay. This is Julie Kinnan. We're talking about a gaggle of galloping ghosts. This is the 11th episode in Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And by the way, Stephen, we are more than halfway through the first season here.
Woo!
Yay!
There's so much else out there, though.
I know. Yeah, it's really a drop in the bucket in Scoobyverse, but that's good. This episode, I can't believe you spoiled that already. That's all right. It's okay.
So sorry.
It's okay. I was super excited to see ghost horses, and I was like, in my notes, I go, are there going to be ghost horses? And I wrote, better be a bunch of them. And I was so excited for this ep, also because I love alliteration. So gaggle of galloping ghosts. Just, I was all queued up to have a great viewing adventure, and I was going to promise our listeners at the very end of the ep, a ghost horse count for everyone. So I'll still check back in with everyone and let you know how many horses there are.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll have a ghost horse count. I've got my count written down right now. So,
do you have a weird relationship with horses? I think I remembered you saying that last time that you didn't like them or something. I forget. How do you feel about horses? Was that another thing that you don't like?
Yes. Well, there's many things I don't like. Horses being one of them. They stare at you out of their creepy little side eye. And
that's what it was.
No,
yeah.
but it's terrifying, and they're so big. Why
they
are
are
so
big. They are very big. My kids are at a farm camp this week. It's the last week of summer break, and I get to look at real live horses. And when I was a kid, I didn't have much interaction with horses. I always thought of them as like a rich kid thing. So they've always been like, ooh, horses.
Yeah,
anyway.
They've always just been like, there's those big stinky things, because I live in the South. So they're all over the place. There's literally horses half a mile down the road from me.
Wow. Okay, well, hopefully we'll get some horses at some point in this Scooby-verse. If Corn had made a guest appearance, then I'm guessing horses will be in an episode at some point. Well, this episode does not look very horsey when it starts, which concerned me. It starts with a full moon on a very creepy castle. Sure. And hanging out on the castle is not a horse. Do you remember who was viewing the mystery machine?
Oh, it's the weirdest looking teen wolf like werewolf I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's like a combination hunchback werewolf with lavender skin again. Remember, I was saying all these villains keep having purple skin and like way more hair than one would think would be normal and not on the face. It was kind of weird.
Hunchback werewolf. There's a joke in there.
Well,
Quasi Bono?
Can I make pornography jokes or no?
No.
No. Okay. Yep. Excellent one, Steven, that's going to go on Twitter. I hate to break it to you.
Okay.
That's almost as good as Game of Bones that you came up with last time.
A lot of bone references.
Yeah. It's a theme. So this werewolf, purple hunchback werewolf, is not happy to see the mystery machine coming up on the castle because he is snarling. He does not like hippie vans. At this point, I'm thinking this guy is a furry because, okay, let's just stay with me for a sec. So
okay.
Let's assume that there's no such thing as werewolves for a second. If there are werewolves, they're not going to be purple. But we
don't
see
know?
Maybe. Okay. Fair. All right. You're right. It's possible that if there are werewolves, they could come in a variety of fur colors. I'm just saying. But furries, on the other hand, or for those who don't know, are humans who dress in animal costumes, sometimes completely animal, sometimes more humanimal. What do you call it? Like when something's humanoid? Humanoid. And,
well, that's the word. Yep.
That is the word. But also in a variety of beautiful colors. Somewhat sexualized, not always. Maybe that's a minority. I don't know. I'm about as familiar with furries as I am with juggalos.
So not.
So not. Right. Exactly. So Wikipedia, thanks. And one episode of Bob's Burgers. That's where I got my info. So anyway, so this guy's just hanging out in an in this outfit and it's purple, and he's like, oh, great, uninvited guests. Grr. So that's why I'm thinking furry rather than werewolf. I just think it's more probable. I think there's probably more furries in this world than werewolves. End of debate.
Okay.
Of my side of the debate. I mean, you can do your thing if you want.
No, I don't know that you're wrong.
Okay, fair. All right. We'll find out at the end of the episode when he discusses furry culture. All right. So the kids talk about the name of this castle they're going to visit. And it's, prepare yourselves, kids, Franken Castle. The only castle built stone by stone from Transylvania. But this is explaining why there is an ancient-looking castle in Athens, Georgia.
Right. They are really mixing up some lore here too. Sorry, Aaron Mankey. They're just messing up the lore. 'Cause like I feel like there's all sorts of like werewolves from Transylvania, and I was like, okay, but Franken, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Frankenstein's monster, like, no. It's
You're mixing
greedy.
the universal monsters.
Exactly. It's totally greedy. Transylvania would be Bram Stoker's Dracula,
Right.
werewolves, 19th century, Mary Shelley with Frankenstein's monster. I just think that the writers thought, oh, we're only going to last one season here. So let's take all the monsters that we really, really love and just like push them into, here, we're almost done with the season. Come on, this is our chance. Let's get this done. Because no one's going to want to, another season of this. It's certainly not going to be a phenomenon that lasts into the next century.
I was going to say 50 years later.
Right, exactly. Well, Daphne is on board for mixing of the monsters. She hears the word Franken Castle and Transylvania, so that gives us the ideas of Frankenstein's monster and vampires. And she says she's really excited about werewolves in Transylvania. I don't know. Maybe she's just really teen Jacob.
No, don't you bring that in here. Don't you bring that Twilight in here. We don't talk about that.
Fine. The other kids are like, what? They think she's kind of dumb. And I'm kind of on their page. Sorry. Normally, I'm not so up with all the Daphne hate, but that time, it's just like, really? That's what you love from Transylvania is werewolves? Daphne. Well, but of course, the viewer knows she's right.
There's so many references to just like werewolves in Transylvania and different things in werewolves. They refer to werewolves as evil forces from the land of the dead. To which I'm like, I think that's vampires.
Yeah.
I think you're really confused on what a vampire is, guys.
If you're going to make a cartoon about spooky stuff, do a little bit of research.
It's not even research. It's just common knowledge.
I'm just saying, I do a podcast with my brother. We've got like 600 listeners, and I do like a complete peer-reviewed literature review, literature review of the peer-reviewed literature for that every month. Come on, Scooby guys. You guys could at least just 10 minutes on the interwebs.
And I have a podcast where I do absolutely no research for either one of them. And
you have way more listeners. Maybe that's the problem. I do too much research.
That's just fake it till you make it.
Okay, perfect. I like that. That's always a good one. Okay, so meanwhile, because that's not enough plot, they pass a fortune-telling truck. And it looks, when I say truck, it's like, it looks like the truck in Wizard of Oz, where Dorothy stops and gets in the back of a strange man's van for a while. And the fortune, okay, so there's still not a horse ghost, by the way, in my notes I've got here. I'm in all caps. I'm starting to get a little upset by this. Daphne wants to stop, but Velma thinks it's silly. They go in. There's a gray-skinned lady, not purple, with orange eyes, of course, because eyes have to be orange or yellow in this series, and a crystal ball. You children are on a pleasure trip, but there is great danger in these mountains. Scooby immediately thinks werewolves, which is Scooby talk for werewolves. So again, all the kids are like, oh.
Thank you for the translation.
Anytime. I'm sure those audio beats are going to be terrible for you to listen to later. Sorry. She advises them against the castle because that's where they're going to meet their doom.
Sure. Let's go there.
She is talking to the wrong set of kids. I mean, that just makes Fred horny to go there. And Velma totally pulls a Scully here, and she refuses to be deterred. She's like, that's ridiculous. Now I really want to go to prove that there's nothing wrong at Franken Castle. Okay, lightning strikes, and the kids can't pass into the castle over this drawbridge because it's been pulled up. So Fred, so of course, in a lightning storm, when you've been deterred, Fred says, let's get out and look around for a bit.
In a lightning storm in a very wide open space where you are the tallest thing.
And the only metal thing is your van that you're in. I think Shaggy technically is the tallest thing, but he has a bad stoop. Yeah, you're right. Fred's the tallest thing. I'm just saying, posture, it's important. Hippies.
I'm real bad at that.
Yeah.
I'm a real quasi-bono over here.
I'm thinking maybe Fred's trying to impress Velma, who is his former lover and mother of his child, as Stephen has suggested in many episodes.
Oh, I have proof. I have proof later on, but go on.
Okay, I don't know if proof. Okay, well, I'm waiting for a DNA test. Okay, all of a sudden, the drawbridge lowers. The kids are not creeped out by this. They're about to walk in, but then another guest appears. It's a stereotypical vampire. He says, stop. And just two things about this vampire. Okay, first of all, still not a horse, for the record.
As most vampires are not, because vampire horses are the scariest thing I've ever heard of in my life.
Gosh, that is horrifying. Yeah, okay, I wish I hadn't thought of that.
Yep.
And now I'm picturing it.
Good luck sleeping tonight.
Thanks. But he's like got it's a Bela Lugosi kind of vampire. So like the black cape with red on the inside and like the severe widow's peak. A cross between Bela Lugosi and the boy from the Munsters.
Eddie,
Aww. Thank you.
I love the
but
Munsters.
A grown-up.
Let's do a Munsters podcast.
We could do like a special episode sometime, maybe at Christmas or something, or Hanukkah.
All about that. Halloween would make more
Halloween.
sense.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay, I guess if you want to be like totally on point, too much on the nose. Okay, or for President's Day. Well, let's pick random weird holidays. Meddling kids out there, tell us which weird holidays you want us to do.
Arbor Day.
Arbor Day. Okay, so the stereotypical vampire says stop. Velma tells him off with like
right.
Yeah?
I don't remember what she said. All I wrote down was Velma's getting real ballsy with Dracula. Like,
you stop that, is what she said.
Yeah, she's like a 87-year-old woman just like yelling at some kids, but it's great.
It was finger shaking and everything. She is really doing the Scully here. She's halfway through this season too. She knows this is just a regular human. There is nothing supernatural, probably. He all of a sudden transforms into a vampire bat and flies at them. Daphne is paralyzed in fear. And the rest of the kids run off the drawbridge back to the mystery machine, but Daphne kind of like slides on the drawbridge into the castle because, of course, if someone's going to get stuck, it's either going to be Scooby or Daphne. She is stuck in the castle, and suddenly Frankenstein's monster comes galumphing toward her.
Yes, it's all coming together. They're doing a real Avengers here. They're all coming together for one big adventure. I was waiting to see the creature from the Black Lagoon just like come trumping out of the water, just like, hey guys.
They need to save him for another ep. I think he's got his own few eps coming up, if I recall. Gotcha. I think next season even. Although he has a different name. The other kids are like, run, Daphne! Fred doesn't actually seem too distraught because the artist, like, this same thing happens in our next episode too. Like, when horrible things are happening, they just still use the same, like, stills of the cartoon characters just kind of standing there in their neutral poses. So Fred's oh, yeah, which, again, I guess is more evidence to your thing. Fred uses a lasso to make a rope, and he ties it to... No. Fred uses a lasso to make a rope tied to a gargoyle. He doesn't use a lasso to make a rope. Shaggy and Scooby... my notes are not punctuated. Shaggy and Scooby swing into the castle on this rope over the drawbridge, and Shaggy tells Scooby, keep watch, which we know he's not going to do because he never does. Scooby can do a lot of things. He's a very good boy, but he is not good at keeping watch.
Well, he tells him, keep watch while I figure out how to lower this drawbridge as he's standing next to the, like, gears to lower the drawbridge. And I'm just like, all you gotta do, bud, is just like start turning that big wheel.
Right, exactly. Well, I mean, Shaggy's probably high, and this is new. Anyway, and it's night. It's ill lit in there. So all of a sudden, the Lavender Wolf Man. Oh, and by the way, he's wearing green pajamas.
Is he?
Well, either that or a green suit that's kind of loose fitting and looks super comfy.
I see it too, but it's also like a very like iconic Scooby monster to me for some reason. Like I saw it and I was like, oh, it's that guy.
Well, I have screenshots to put on Facebook and Twitter after we release, and listeners can weigh in. To me, I was like, oh, jammies, but I don't know. Could
He just wants to be comfy.
Well, yeah, who could blame him? Okay. Also, furry costumes are really expensive. So if all he had to pay for was the head and feet and hands and then just wore his regular jammies, it would be more comfortable, less money.
That's fair.
I don't know if that's a thing. Okay. And he's super snarly, too. And he's still not a horse, for the record. Okay, Shaggy tricks the werewolf into holding this big stick Shaggy was holding, and Shaggy runs away. A suit of armor trips the werewolf while it's chasing Shaggy, and we're wondering, oh no, is this another villain? No, it was Scooby. What a good boy.
Tripping his master.
Right. No, he tricked the werewolf. Or he tricked the werewolf, not Shaggy. Yeah. Okay, so Shaggy and Scooby try to hide. Shaggy hides on a windowsill, and Scooby hides in a piano, which, oh, Scooby, he's like one of those dogs that doesn't know exactly how big he is and like hides behind a curtain with just his snout hidden, but like his giant furry tushy sticking out, and yeah. Anyway, Shaggy uses his amazing ventriloquism skills. You might recall from our very first episode, What a Night for a Night. He is an amazing ventriloquist, and I'm glad to see these skills again. The piano gets destroyed, but Scooby pulls a fabulous prank. He uses some of the piano keys to pretend he is a snarling monster. Like he sticks them under his big floppy lip to like make the keys come out, like you do with chopsticks to make it look like you have fangs. No?
Do you do that? I don't. I always did it with. I wanted walrus. Yeah, I wanted to look like a walrus.
Yeah, walrus. Yeah, exactly. So Scooby's doing that with a whole bunch of piano keys, and it's very compelling. It does scare the werewolf, and Shaggy traps the werewolf with a falling chandelier. So this would be a great time for them to unmask him, don't you think?
Right, but you got to be careful with those furry heads, because I have been doing some research, and I found someone who is a wolf as a furry. Yeah, this is anonymous on Reddit. The head costs $350.
Frankly, that's less than I was gonna guess.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh! Somebody said that their suit did cost them $21,000. Okay, that's a little excessive. But yes, you gotta be careful with that mask.
Some people spend that much on wedding dresses, and you only wear that once.
That's how much mine was.
Oh yeah, mine was a hand-me-down, so I saved up all my money for my furry suit. Okay, so thank you so much for doing Googling while we're podcasting. Keep us posted.
You know.
Okay, so and feel free to post pictures later, if that's allowed. Okay, or not. I don't know how sexualized they are. I'm guessing not.
No, they're not.
No. Okay, good. Okay. They don't unmask him. They run away, and it's time for a commercial break.
You start.
If someone said to you, Mark, what is the Station Wagon podcast, that show you do with your sister? What would you say?
Our show's all about mindfulness.
That's too vague, specifically.
Yeah, okay, so you're always right and I'm always wrong.
Okay, perfect. But more specifically...
God. Taking a look at those things that we take for granted, giving them up for a while, and telling you how it goes so you don't have to do it.
Google us, the Station Wagon Podcast, or at wagonpod.com. Returning from commercials, let's check in with our ghost horse count. Or just regular horse count. I'll take a pony or even like a donkey at this point. Steven, how many do we have? Drumroll.
I would like to imagine that there's at least one horse that has been hooked up to that fortune teller's wagon out front, or else how did she get it around?
Excellent point. Okay,
but technically 0 horses.
0 horses. 1 invisible potential horse.
Right.
Maybe.
It's like
Maybe we'll see that horse soon.
Yeah, you can't see it unless you've seen someone die, like in Harry Potter. It's a
Oh, right,
thestral.
like a thestral.
Yep. Oh, God,
I'm right there with you. No, you can't call yourself a loser when both of us knew the same thing, because thanks a lot. But you're kind of right that I am too, so it's all right. Okay, Fred and Velma, meanwhile, are searching...
alone. That's my thing. They're off for love by themselves for the first time.
Okay, this isn't like Victorian England or the Regency era where if a woman is alone with a man, we all assume that she has lost her virginity and must marry him.
Well, no, but this just supports my theory that finally they're just like, let's not hang out with Daphne. It's just you and me, Velma.
I'm not convinced, but I'll allow it for now. We'll keep it on deck. I think we're going to need a few more seasons to get to this.
Right.
Okay. The Fred and Velma are searching and find this really cool old dining hall, like where you could see some Vikings filming a scene for, or a movie about Vikings being filmed. Not Vikings didn't make a lot of movies.
Sure.
Anyway, they get threatened by a vampire again, who again turns into a bat. By the way, I've mentioned this before. I really like bats, and they're awesome and eat mosquitoes. So when I see them in, TV and stuff where they're bad, I'm always like, come on. Anyway, this anti-bat rhetoric. Okay, so they crawl around, and oh no, the worst thing happens. Velma loses her glasses. In my notes, I've got, we need a special song or something like every time this happens. And this is where Chris Gimlet would be really, really... Did I just say his last name wrong?
I don't know who you're talking about.
Your co-host on Is This Adulting?
Oh, Grimmett. Yeah, Chris Grimmett.
I called him Chris Gimlet. But
Gimlet is a podcast network.
Okay, so it makes sense. I'm sorry. Chris is really good at coming up with random theme songs and stuff, so we'll have to see if he's willing to come up with the Velma loses her glasses,
like a news theme song, like a dun 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 dun.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so let's
Glasses
just sample
watch.
that. Yeah, a glasses watch. I love it. That's gonna be my new ringtone. Okay, so as we've mentioned before, every time Velma loses her glasses, her IQ drops a couple standard deviations, which is significant, and she loses all sense of time and reality and place. She does do a good, smart thing this time. She crawls into a hidden passage. I think she's just...
Can we just point out what happened before? She's
What?
crawling, and right before the secret passage opens, do you remember what the secret passage was?
No.
It was a fireplace. It was a large, lit fireplace, just a blazing fire, and she was about
Velma.
10 seconds away from just crawling into the flames, which would have made this a very different cartoon.
Oh my gosh, Velma. See, this is the thing with her glasses. It's to me, that's the scariest thing in these episodes is when she loses her glasses. That is dangerous.
It was
for this
concerning. For a second, I was like, oh my God, it's like the end of Toy Story 3, where I'm just going to sadly watch my childhood burn.
That was sad. But
Spoilers.
happy ending, everybody. They
it
don't
did have
perish.
Well,
okay.
They didn't perish, but it was still an emotional ending.
Oh, for sure. But you made it sound like they all
Oh yeah,
died in
they
flames.
almost died in flames, and then they were saved.
Okay.
Spoilers.
I think both of us are really bad at this, but you especially, that you always say spoiler alert after you've said the spoilers.
Oh, I have no shame. Just
okay.
If you haven't seen Toy Story 3, it's been 7 years. It's okay.
Yeah. It's a good one. All right. So she crawls into this passage from underneath the fireplace, I guess. Fred is mystified. Meanwhile, Shaggy and Scooby are hiding in the kitchen, and they want to check the fridge. They're guessing that this place is going to have some choice delectables because it's a castle.
Now, they make clear at one point in the episode, this castle is from 1668.
Yes.
Which is interesting because who knows what was going on in Georgia in 1668. I mean, it was just basically discovered. And so this castle has been moved over from Transylvania. Why does this castle that is, at the time this was made, this cartoon came out in 1968. So this castle is 300 years old. Why has it got a refrigerator?
And it was moved brick by brick, presumably based on some things that happened later, without changing anything, including cadavers and stuff.
So that good electric refrigerator, that Frigidaire from 1668, ye old Frigidaire.
Yeah, and it's going to have some really good food in it because I'm sure they moved it with the original things. Okay, so I will say probably back then they did have ice houses.
I mean, fair enough, but I mean, this was clearly an electric refrigerator.
Okay, fair.
And, like, what are they putting in there if they're putting the original food in there? Like boiled goose? Like, what are you?
Well, I'll tell you what's in there. They find a jar of pickled vampire wings.
Sure.
Which doesn't make a lot of sense if there's a vampire living there, unless vampires are cannibals, which I guess depends on which book you're reading. They find a box or a can of werewolf snacks, which actually sounds pretty good, unless it's made of werewolves, and fried moonbeams, which I don't know who that one's for.
I don't know. I would have suspected something like spicy, something with fire for Frankenstein.
Yeah, I think that fried moonbeams, it makes me think more like My Little Ponies would eat that or something.
Well, maybe those are for the werewolf. Maybe
Okay.
Frankenstein eats the Frankenstein's monster, eats the
Thank you.
vampire bat wings, and maybe the vampire is all about those werewolf snacks. Maybe it's like jerky made from werewolves, and he's finally fighting his enemy. I don't know.
Okay. Although Scooby and Shaggy normally have quite an open palate and are willing to try all manner of things, they say double yuck, yuck. And
Sure.
They walk over to the pantry, but it's labeled pantry, keep out. Which, why would you label it pantry? When I see pantry, I think that's where the potato chips live. And of course, Scooby and Shaggy are similarly inclined. They opened it up, and inside, Scooby finds a Frankenstein's monster. He's inside, and he knocks down Shaggy, and Shaggy does a really weird thing while he's falling. Do you recall this? He shouts, "Help, I'm falling!"
Oh. No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, which no one in the history of the world has ever, said while falling, because gravity... 9.8 seconds per something? Anyway.
Sure, science.
Science. Okay. And maybe he's just super high and time is working differently, because I've heard that some people, when they're on the marijuana, things feel really slow or fast.
Sure.
No? Okay.
No, I mean, I wouldn't know.
Okay. Well, I thought maybe you would Google it. That's how we would learn all about
I'm
these
on
things.
it.
No, you don't have to. I'm just kidding. Your Google search history is going to be so messed up because
That's
of this
why
podcast.
I'm using that good private window.
Oh, good. Okay, so Frankenstein's monster, I'm just going to call him Frank because Frankenstein's monster is long to say. He accidentally hits a bag of flour, and so he's now covered in flour and looks white, and so now they think he's a Frankenstein's monster's ghost, of course, because logic. And Shaggy grabs hold of a metal meat hook and starts sliding around, which looks really fun, by the way. Flour-covered Frank is still not a horse ghost, by the way, in my notes in all caps, because I am starting to wonder if there's going to be any horses. Velma is blind and stupid in the other area trying to find everyone. And then she finds some crazy room, and she thinks it's like a play area, but this is so disturbing, everyone. It's like a torture chamber.
Yeah, it's a straight up torture chamber. It's not like a torture chamber.
Okay,
It is
fair.
a torture chamber.
It
And she's like,
is.
look at all the toys. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, and Shaggy and Scooby slide in from somehow, and they find a skeleton. So this is a dead body that has been unburied. It's handcuffed. It is handcuffed to the wall in this torture chamber, presumably after horrible things have happened to it. We've been watching Game of Thrones, so let's not go there. And when they move this castle brick by brick, they also very carefully move this dead body. That's what we surmise.
Breaking news. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah?
It's also Glasses Watch, but also breaking news. So the effect of cannabis on time perception has been
Yes.
studied with inconclusive results. But I need you to know what I Googled. I need you to
Okay.
know that I Googled, does weed slow down time?
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. That's
Not does it make it feel like time slows down. No.
Does it
Does
actually
it slow down
slow?
time?
Oh my gosh, I love it.
All right, we're back to our regularly scheduled programming.
They Scooby and Shaggy see or they don't see this, but there's an Iron Maiden and her eyes are moving around.
That's what I thought. I was like, is that an Iron
Creepy.
Maiden?
It was an Iron
Velma
Maiden.
gonna end up in there?
I know, it's yucky. Scooby smells some Scooby snacks, and that's how he finds Velma, because she's carrying Scooby snacks. And fortunately, Shaggy has her extra glasses.
I called this.
What?
Like, I was literally sitting there the whole thing like, somebody's gonna have extra glasses. It's gonna be something dumb like that. Like, and literally Shaggy, like, as he fell out of the dumbwaiter chute into the dungeon, I remember thinking, man, if he's got extra glasses, they are broken.
I'm really impressed that you came up with that and knew that ahead of time.
I should have been a writer.
You should have. I was really worried about the glasses. As someone who wears glasses and is similarly disadvantaged like Velma, although not quite as incapacitated.
I mean, but if you took your glasses off right now,
yeah.
I don't think... Okay, Julie's taking her
Whoa,
glasses off.
I'm falling over! Yeah.
Oh, no, I don't think that you're confused and you're looking at me on the screen or looking at your equipment and going, oh my God, it's a lizard! Like, I think that you
I'm in the
still
middle of
know
a
what
road.
you're doing.
Yeah. For more on this topic, go to our Charlie episode, which I forget what it was called, but it's about a carnival. No, okay.
Wait,
remember the one
robot?
with the robot one, but I forget what that episode
yeah, that was
called.
something in
Fun
Funland.
Times in Funland. Something. Okay. Freaky
Foul
Times
play
in
in
Funland.
Funland.
Foul.
Boom.
But you are good. Steven is on point today. Okay. This is going to go on forever. So Scooby has a rope for Daphne somehow. I don't know how that was going to help her, but he uses it to wrap around a vampire's... Oh, the Iron Maiden opened and a vampire popped out. He uses it to wrap around the vampire's legs while growling like a good boy. And by the way, this is a seriously spooky ep. I think this is one of our spookiest eps ever.
Right.
There's like all sorts of actual really scary things happen. And I'm thinking, unmask him because his legs are all wrapped up. But they don't. They do drag him into a pit. Which is good. The kids all want to leave, but they run into a they run into a tunnel that's like through the Iron Maiden, and it's pitch black in there. They see a door, but when the girls leave that tunnel, they realize they've lost Shaggy and Scooby, but found Fred.
Yeah, he's just like, hi, I'm Fred, and I'm leaning on this ladder, all seductive-like. I've been here the whole time waiting for you. Like... Oh,
Exactly.
Fred.
I was assuming he had been building some sort of trap up there, because that's usually what he's up to. Daphne says that while she was in the dungeon, she wrote down a message she found on the wall. So keep in mind, this message was written in 1668 and then transferred brick by brick and not noticed by anyone. It says, I have fooled them all. I may perish, but I'll be as rich as King Tut, which is very impressive that this is written in like modern parlance. And also in Transylvania, they were not speaking English, but maybe this guy was.
Also,
anyway.
Those words are my Twitter profile, like description.
And accurate. This is a lot of plot, everyone. Okay, Velma guesses that the treasures is buried with someone. And so Shaggy and Scooby are running around and they find a groovy laboratory. And
Right.
do you wanna talk about it?
No, it's just this is the most frustrating scene because as a kid I was like, yeah, cool, and like as an adult I'm just like, everything that happens in this scene is extremely dangerous. I'm an old man.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, so just to paint the picture for everyone, it looks like an old-fashioned laboratory where, like, in the basement in The Princess Bride, when Wesley
Right.
is being tortured. Spoiler alert. Anyway.
Yeah, that movie's like 30 years old. I think we're good.
Okay. But there's also stretchers and like medical beds with covered bodies on them. I mean, presumably, or things that look like bodies. So we're just supposed to assume kids are running around with lots of dead bodies. Again, a spooky episode here. And it looks like the kind of lab that they would make for a Frankenstein movie in the 1960s. So, like, I think that's cool. Okay, anyway, Scooby and Shaggy run around and they pretend that they're Frankenstein's monster and Igor. Or no, maybe the Frankenstein scientist. I don't remember. And they play with chemicals until a werewolf jumps out of a machine.
Now, I think you're skipping a very disturbing part.
Oh, what happened?
He goes over to this stretcher and he goes, pull the sheet off.
Oh, right.
And he pulls the sheet off and there's like this wireframe outline of like a body, like Frankenstein's monster. Now, The plan is you pull the sheet off and I'll spray him with this hose. I don't remember why that was the plan. But he rips off the sheet, Scooby does, and it gets wrapped around Scooby's body and face. And then Shaggy is uncontrollably spraying the hose and is spraying Scooby. He's waterboarding Scooby.
Oh, Steven!
And I was just like, oh my, that's dangerous.
Yeah, not good. Not good at all. Again, machines here from 1668. I don't remember why they were going to spray water on the cadaver, except science. I don't know.
Yeah, I think science, that's what happens when there's a dead
yeah.
body involved. If you spray water on it, it can't get you.
Right. That makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
well, so Frankenstein pops out of a machine. He was hiding in it.
Excuse me, who?
Frankenstein's monster. Thank
There you go.
I don't want the haters on Twitter to get us. They accidentally bomb him with a potion they made. So
Also, funny enough story, this isn't Frankenstein's monster. It's a werewolf that happens with.
Oh.
People literally are just like, they never get anything right. And I'm like, well, we don't.
We don't. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine our listeners this week trying to follow the thread here. I wish these episodes were free someplace so you all could watch it and actually have a better idea of what we're talking about.
Breaking news. Dun, 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 dun. We're not experts, guys. Like, chill.
Oh, yeah.
Chill.
Right. Not yet. By the end of this entire
We now return to your
podcasting
regularly
career.
scheduled programming.
Right. Okay, so Scooby's pretending to be a monster now. Shaggy's pretending to be a doctor. Now Frankenstein's monster pops up on a different table and he pushes Scoob. I have written down, seriously, I can't keep up with all this. Now Shaggy and Scoob are on a fast-moving medical table. They use the sheet to make a sail, and they find the other kids. And I'm sure 10 other things happened, and I'm sorry I didn't write them down.
Yeah, no, that was a pretty good description of what went down there. They roll to the edge of the stairs and almost go to their death.
Oh, yeah, that was scary, too.
But they don't.
Yes, it's where I would remind my kids if they were watching, it's going to have a happy ending. And I'm telling that to myself, too. They're going to be okay.
And this this is where we get a lesson on crypts.
Oh, right. So the other kids decide to go down to the Franken family crypt.
Sure, desecrating graves. That's a great idea.
Yeah, because it was already desecrated. They moved this crypt brick by brick from 1668.
There you
I
go.
mean, yeah, presumably graves and coffins would have been left in Transylvania, I guess. I don't know. I think we're supposed to assume that the bodies have been moved here as well. But why would the Franken family want to move their bodies to the USA? It just doesn't make any sense. I guess land prices in Georgia cheaper than Transylvania. They find a 1668 coffin and open it, which kids don't do that.
Yeah, can we just... the Meddling Kids podcast would like to take a hard stance here. Don't open graves.
Yeah, it's not good. It's just
don't do
bad.
that. Just like, I don't care whose it is. Just don't do it.
Even if you're solving a mystery, it's not your choice.
Unless you are like an FBI agent who like
Thank you.
you are exhuming remains to solve a mystery, and that is your job. But if you are a teen riding around in a van, this is not for you to do.
Even FBI has to get a warrant first.
Yeah,
you can't
exactly.
Just exhume someone's grave.
You got to watch yourself.
And probable cause too, which I'm not sure that they had. Anyway, they open it up. Up pops a vampire asking, "Who the heirs upset my sleep?" And it's not a horse. The kids all run away from this vampire. Shaggy wants to... Which the vampire's just like, hey, let me go back to sleep. Okay, fine. What? Anyway, they run away. Shaggy wants to set a trap. Scooby and Shag use a tapestry. The vampire jumps back in the coffin. But when the kids go to look at it, it's empty except for some jewels. Because we needed a whole bunch of more plot here. On the back side of the tapestry that Shaggy and Scooby had used to try to trick him was sewn a ton of jewels. Like giant rubies here. I mean, this is like, we're talking major, major, major jewels. So now we've got a hint of a motive of why all these monsters are running around. Potentially could be a human who wants to pay for all of his horse's upkeep by finding these jewels.
Right, but once you found them on the tapestry... Why set up all this stuff and fool everyone? Why not just like take the tapestry, be like, mine's these, then you got all the jewels.
He didn't know where the tapestry was. He had all these hungry horses, a gaggle of galloping horses they needed to feed and upkeep. And horses are expensive, as previously discussed. not just, rich kids. They need rubies to pay for it. And so he had transferred this castle to the United States to conduct this research, I guess, maybe, and looking all around it for the place where the jewels were hidden. And unbeknownst to this villain, Shaggy and Scooby find the tapestry and all the jewels. Maybe?
But they don't just take it. Again,
No.
I'm a terrible person, but I'm just like, I mean, this is like an abandoned castle, right? Like, why don't you just be like, dibs?
Well, here's what they do get very interested in. One earring that's there, it looks like the one the fortune teller was wearing. So they decide, they do escape the castle at this point. Instead of going to the police and stuff about the dead bodies they've found, they decide to go back and see the fortune teller. And this time, she only has one earring.
Ruh-roh.
What was your news theme again?
It's very much a dun 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 dun.
Okay, thank you. Scooby sees the rest of the tapestry on under her tushy, I guess, and it's sewn with jewels, and he pulls it out from under her. And now she is really a he and uses his masculine voice to yell at Scooby and then chases them. So why did the villain even bother coming back to the gypsy band? We'll never know. Scooby chases the villain and grabs the tapestry. And what a coincidence! Because who is right there as they're chasing around? A police officer. And, that's great. Why couldn't they have called in the police earlier? I don't know. Okay, why, it's Big Bob Oakley, alias the actor.
Sure.
Master of disguises. He was wanted in 7 states. And that's from the police officer. The kids explain that Big Bob Oakley was trying to scare people away so he could find the jewels. And I've just got my notes. Those rubies are really big, by the way. They're the rarest of all the precious stones. I mean, we're talking major fortune here.
Right.
And I'm thinking the movers, when moving the castle brick by brick, in addition to finding cadavers and things, would have noticed this tapestry, but maybe not. Okay. And then a really amazing thing happens. Oakley,
Well.
the villain, says, might have gotten away with it too. And I've got, could it be? If it wasn't for these blasted kids and their dog.
And I threw my notes across the room in anger because I was so excited.
We've been waiting for the meddling kids line, and this wasn't it. And it wasn't a horse either, by the way. Later, the kids are having a lovely picnic on the grounds of the castle at night. Their favorite picnic weather. And they're talking about how they never figured out how Oakley did that bat trick. They figured out, okay, well, if he's a master of disguises and acting, that's how he could so quickly change from a gypsy lady to a Frankenstein's monster to a vampire and everything. But how did the vampire change into a bat? All of a sudden, they see a bat coming closer. Fred says, it's only a stuffed bat on a wire. And that explains nothing.
That's very much like a Deus Ex Machina. They're like, we're just going to, there you go. It's just been a bat on a wire. I'm like, you couldn't figure that out the first time?
Yeah, I mean, it was going to be that or a projection machine. It's always a projection machine, too, right? That explains everything. But where did his body go when he changed from vampire to bat? I'm still not convinced. I still think there could potentially be something spooky there. And I'm still waiting for the horses because, as promised, I'm checking back in. Our horse count is still 0. And so we got to know, where did the vampire's body go when he changed into a bat? And where are all the horses?
I'm so sorry.
Okay, well.
So sorry there were no horses.
Well, this does relate to our meddling question of the week from Clara, who asks, what kind of animals would you like to see Scooby interact with? Because usually, or in our last episode, he was interacting with elephants and stuff. So, Stephen, I will turn to you. What kind of animal do you want to see Scooby interact with?
Capybaras.
Oh! Wait,
Capybaras are my favorite animal. They're just very large rodents, which sounds gross and might be. But if you look at a picture of a capybara, they're kind of cute. They're essentially like mastiff-sized guinea pigs.
Oh, they're that big?
They can get. You see them next to people. It's just like, oh my god. Like, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I think Scooby could do some good romping there.
Yeah, I think that'd be a fun one. That maybe an eagle. I don't know why. He just seems like an eagle type of guy.
You want to know what kind of animal I'd like to see? A horse.
Hung up on those horses, huh?
Well, I'm a little bit more than disappointed. Fred was horny for some adventure. I just wanted to see a horse. Okay. Thank you so much, Clara. If you've got a meddling question, please email us at meddlingkidspod@gmail.com. You could tweet at us at meddlingkidspod or join us on Facebook.
Sorry. I
That's
zoned
all
out
right.
there. Well, you froze up a little bit, and then all I heard was
no.
Fred was horny for tweet at us on Facebook.
You'll never know what I said.
I never will, so I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to leave it all in so that everyone else will know what happened just now.
Change our rating to explicit. Just kidding, iTunes. Still family friendly. Thanks so much for joining the Meddling Kids podcast. And thank you to Dave Seste for the use of the song Night Surfing as our theme music. I'm singing the part Steven usually says just because, I don't know, he seemed like he was off the rails, so I thought I would do that. You can do the part I usually say if you want.
No, I'm so offended that I don't think that I can.
Oh, no.
So very offended that you took my part.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Because I don't talk enough in this podcast. I needed extra lines.
It's all I have. It's all, you took everything from me.
Well, if you'd like to hear more from Steven, check in his other amazing podcast called Is This Adulting? It's a comedy show about all the fun things in life, really fun games, and it's also about breaking stigma about mental health. And I'm on the Station Wagon podcast with my brother. We do science and history experiments on ourselves, and it's pretty fun. Also comedy and some science mixed in. And soon I'll have some more podcasts that I can talk about on Facebook down the road. So stay tuned.
Yes. Sorry, I'm back now. I'm unfrozen.
Yay.
We
All
will
right.
also be back. By the way, this whole time, I don't know if I left it in editing or not, but this whole time I've just been just angry that you took everything I had from me by saying my one line. But I don't know if you could hear that. So
I did. Yeah.
we will be back next time with episode 12 of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You, Scooby-Doo, and a Mummy Too, which sounds fun.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
I like mummies. Really into it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this
I like
episode.
mommies. Yeah, it was action-packed and genuinely spooky and no ethnocentrism against, like, current living beings.
I'm not sure that'll be the case in the mummy episode, but oh well.
No.
And
And we
still
learned
funsies.
about furries.
We did learn about furries, so we're just educating the children of America, whether their parents want us to or not. Anyway, in the meantime, you can rate us. Yep, just rate us. And subscribe on iTunes or wherever you get podcasts. We're on Stitcher, Google Play, all that fun stuff. You see what happens when we switch lines? It's off the rails.
We really do appreciate the ratings on iTunes. We don't take paid advertisements and stuff on this show. We just want to be promoting Humane Society and other good podcasts. But one way you can be helping us out is listening to those shows and giving us ratings, and that helps other people find us. So thank you so much. Sounds like I lost Steven. So this
I'm
is
back.
my chance. Yay!
You gonna take my
I
line
was just-
again? Is that what
No,
you're gonna
I'm
do?
just going to start telling funny anecdotes about my children or something. But go on, please. I won't say it.
Alright.
It's yours. It's yours. You own it.
It's the one thing I get to do on this show. Just let me have it. All right. Well, as always, you can hear the disappointment in my voice. I'm just so thrown off. As always, I don't know what you did this week. I haven't been keeping tabs. I've been too busy. Guys, I'm tired. I'm on that good medication. I'm not paying attention, but you would have got away with whatever it was if it weren't for us meddling kids.
Go pet a horse.
No, that's terrifying advice. Don't do it.
I know, right? See?
Don't do
I
it.
usually say something scary. Petting a horse is scary.
Oh, okay. I see
They're
what you
like
did.
giant dogs with vampire teeth.
Why'd you put that image in my head?
Sweet dreams, Stephen.